Welcome to the Graybeard Chronicles podcast. Your hosts, Brian Halstead and Kevin Harkins, are two gray-bearded patriots who love God, their family and friends, and their country. The Graybeards are here to inspire, inform, and educate you on a myriad of topics they are passionate about. Brian and Kevin have a strong desire to share this with you to help you live your best life. Sit back and enjoy this amazing podcast as the Graybeards pass along the wisdom of the ages.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. I'm Brian Halstead.
And I'm Kevin Harkins.
And Kevin, we're here to pass along some wisdom of the ages. What the heck does that mean?
We're not perfect, but we do have gray beards. And that means we've got some significant life experience, some life lessons, and some perspectives that are worthy of passing along.
Well, I think that sums it up nicely. Let's get to it. Kevin, what's going on, sir?
Hello, Brian. How are you doing?
I am well, thank you.
You're
I am
looking
well.
good.
And hello to all of you on YouTube. And I apologize for the technical snafu last week, which resulted in just a blank screen with some audio. You will have actual video this week.
Are you sure you got that going
Yes,
right?
I see the recording icons going on in all the places that they need to be going on. So we're good.
Very good.
Yes, what's going on, man?
Yeah, I was shocked. I know our listening and watching audience may not necessarily believe this, but I showed up in this shirt and you showed up in that shirt, and there was no intention.
There was no memo.
No
it
memo.
Just happened.
Yeah.
In fact, when you pulled up, I'm like, holy shit, is he wearing a tie-dye shirt?
Yeah.
It just happened.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's the first.
We're vibrating on that same frequency.
There's some vibration going on there for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I'm doing good. You too?
I'm good.
Tell you where I'm not, though.
Where you not?
I'm not wasted away again in Margaritaville.
No?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you this weekend? Earlier this weekend?
No.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
It's kind of odd.
I know.
That's a weird subject matter to just throw out there. What's up with that?
No, it's not.
I don't think we've ever talked about that subject, Margaritaville or wasting away maybe, and the idea that you shouldn't do it. But why would you bring such a thing up?
Because I would like to take this short podcast and celebrate, have a celebration of life for the late great Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah,
who I was a huge
amen
fan
to that.
Of. Amen.
Raise your glass.
There we go.
That microphone makes that a little difficult.
I know, it does for me.
Yeah, raise your glass to Jimmy Buffett and all those that knew and loved him and have enjoyed his music over the years and the lifestyle that he promoted that goes along with it. And we'll talk more about that. But what a huge influencer and definitely a loss to that community and to the world. So cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Thank
Rest
you.
in peace.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so you said you wanted to talk about this.
I want to talk about it because I think I'm going to stop playing with this thing in a second. My microphone, that is. But it keeps...
Thank you for clarifying that.
Jimmy Buffett. I just think there's some things about his life that are worth reflecting on. And maybe all of us considering in our own lives. And that's actually what I was doing when I got the unfortunate news this week that he had passed. I didn't even know he was sick, honestly. And a lot of people that I talked to didn't know either.
I didn't either. Yeah, and it was obvious with the announcement of his death, right? Because it said, he was surrounded by family and friends, and that unless somebody has a sudden heart attack at a party,
right?
That's usually not the case, right? It's usually because of a known illness and they've degraded over time,
right?
So that got me curious to understand what it was about, and then obviously we found out more.
Right. Anyway, I mean, here's a guy. This is what I love about Jimmy Buffett. First of all, let's just start with his music. For me personally, and the way I grew up professionally in the Coast Guard, Jimmy Buffett is sort of iconic because of his sort of calypso Caribbean steel drum kind of sound, which is how I grew up patrolling in the Caribbean, all of those years and pulling into the various ports that we went into to make ports of call was the Jimmy Buffett was always present in his
no
music.
doubt. I hadn't connected those dots. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And so I just sort of as a young adult grew up with him and enjoyed his music and enjoyed just the feeling that you got. That's one of the magical things about music is it gives you a feeling. It gives you emotion. And his was a very happy one and a very sort of upbeat. And there's a time to take a break and take it easy and enjoy your life. And many, many songs along those lines. He was a great storyteller. He was a true creative. And in the lyrics that he wrote, in the music that he made. And the other interesting thing, and I love this too, is, and you and I spoke about it briefly just before we came on the air. He was not what I would say highly critically acclaimed. A lot of critics look at his music and they don't musically, they didn't rate it high. And yet he continued to smash records on, the albums that he put out and the music, because it resonated with so many people. They could connect with it. And they just like you said at the very beginning, this whole lifestyle thing.
Yeah, and that's music to me. That's interesting, right? Because that's how music was before the music industry got a hold of it.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I can think of, a present day, like really relevant right now example. And this guy, Oliver Anthony, that has just popped on the scene in the last few weeks and is just, breaking records that nobody ever thought to shoot for. And just, actually just knocking it out of the park. Why? Because people identify with the message, they connect with it, and it speaks to them. And he's, I've heard him say himself, and many great artists have said this, they're not that great of a musician or singer.
Right.
That was said about Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
It's hard to argue his
Garth
success.
Brooks.
Yeah.
Said the same thing.
There's, tons of folks that could be put in that camp.
Right.
And they've killed it for years. And most of those people, it's interesting because I'm drawing the conclusions now while we're talking. Most of those people were not subscribers to the music industry. They were kind of outsiders and pushed it away.
Yeah. Doing their own thing in their own unique way.
Yep.
So there's another one of the lessons actually that I wanted to point out. So here's a guy comes from a typical middle class family, born in Mississippi, and figured out that he loved music, at a fairly young age. Did it in high school, but not necessarily the guitar and what he's doing now. Played some other instruments. But then he went to college. I think he went to Auburn, started out at Auburn University, flunked out. And that's when he figured out, you know what? I gotta be me. I gotta do and be me. People love uniqueness, right? And you were trying to figure out what category of music does he fit in? Rock, country, calypso, island. What is it exactly? And
it's his category.
It's his category.
I think I've heard it named. What did I call it earlier? Tropical rock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a category.
Right.
He created one.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because he found his bliss and he just decided, I'm going for it and I'm doing my own thing, my own way. And it was a unique sound that nobody else had. And he's just a special guy that way. And so, so be unique, be yourself. I mean, there's a lesson. If you're born into circumstances or decide to go down a path of circumstances that you think, oh, I can't recover from this, you can, and he did, and he didn't live a perfect life. Everything wasn't unicorns and rainbows all the time.
No, but it was his life.
That's right,
and he lived it the way he wanted to.
Right.
And did he have some brushes with the law and doing things maybe that some might frown upon? Yeah, in their judgmental way they might. And at the same time, he did it his way.
Yep.
And right up until the end, right? Because I, like you said, didn't even know he was sick.
Right.
That I don't know if that was widely communicated within any communities. Maybe the parrot head community. I don't know. I don't think it was. I've never heard it. I'm not a parrot head per se, right? Never
enjoy
dove
his
in.
music, but
Yeah.
never,
Yeah, never dove in full force like that. But yeah, love his music. Always have.
So here's another thing that I really enjoy. I knew this, but I didn't know the extent of it. As I was doing some further reading and research about him, is that once he sort of started making it on the music front, he was smart enough to know I can I can leverage this in the business world. And so he took it to the next level. And I just was curious and I said, what is Jimmy Buffett worth today? And did you look this up? Do you know?
Yeah, like all his assets business wise, so he's like $1 billion.
$1 billion.
Yeah.
He was a billionaire. I mean,
Yep.
think about that. And it wasn't just the music, it was hotels, it was merchandise, it was
Yeah.
restaurants, it was alcoholic beverages,
Yeah.
it was all kinds of stuff that, it just
They were all connected. They all fit that lifestyle. So
Yeah.
it just was a natural fit. And yeah, he had the good sense and wherewithal to identify that and create that whole culture
right.
around his music, and all the stuff to go with that culture.
Yeah, and there you go. And so I guess what I'm saying is back to being unique in yourself, and you start doing that, and then the world starts to reward you in all these different ways. Like, wow, here's another aspect of your personality that you could bring into this. Wow, here's something else you can do that could be a part of who you are as this unique individual. And as you and I have talked about so many times before, people love unique. They like
Yeah.
different.
And they love authentic, right?
Right.
Authenticity is key. I don't recall the exact verbiage of the quote he said regarding authenticity, but it was ultimately, in summary, people will smell it out if it's not real, right? They'll sniff it out and they'll know it's not. So you got to have the authentic vein running through it.
Yeah. And for whatever reason, and maybe this is why I became a fan of his over time. And in fact, Paul and I went to a concert of his. I think it's been about 2 years ago. He was at Jiffy Lube, and it was for my birthday. And Paula splurged and bought us fourth row back tickets, and
Nice.
that was an amazing. And he was amazing. It's still amazing. But anyway, I remember the first time that I heard Margaritaville is his most famous song.
Right.
And although he's got gazillion songs and so many of them are good. But the first time I heard that, I remember the exact moment hearing it in the car driving, and it was in the late 70s that I heard it. And I remember thinking, this is good. This is different.
Right.
This is something that I think I could probably enjoy. I don't know. I got to find out who this guy is. Then they said it's Jimmy Buffett and his new smash hit, Margaritaville. And I'm like, who's Jimmy Buffett? Never heard of him before. And he was off and running.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, so it causes me and probably others to just to think about and evaluate the impact that you can have on those around you. Now, am I saying that it's going to be or could be to the magnitude of Jimmy Buffett's influence?
Right.
Well, I don't know.
Right.
It might. Who puts limits on that stuff?
Right.
The only people that put limits on themselves are themselves typically. So, I just, man, it's something to aspire to have the level of influence and impact on a society or a culture, a community within a society, as he did. It's pretty impressive when you think about it.
And without even really trying, it just
Yeah,
happened.
I don't think that was his intent.
No.
I think he just lived a life that people were drawn to.
Right.
And yeah, he was just having a party. And others decided they wanted some of that too.
Right.
I'm with you. I don't think he was actually setting out to attract them. Now later, I don't think he became a billionaire by accident. At some point it clicked for him that, oh, wait a minute, these people are eating this stuff up. Maybe there's some more stuff out here that they might like to eat up,
Right.
Restaurants and alcohol stuff, yeah.
All kind of things.
So definitely a pretty sharp businessman too.
And I enjoyed having the thought as well that when he did pass away earlier this week, ooh, dog, can you imagine the party in heaven that was going on?
Yeah, I was good. I'm glad you said that because I never had the pleasure of seeing him in concert, on this side.
Okay.
I will
You betcha.
eventually.
You betcha.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That'll be fun. You go up and say howdy.
Yeah. Sorry I missed you on the earthly side, but yeah.
Just a very down to earth guy, just very normal. Nothing about him would strike you as, wow, this guy's going to be a billionaire someday. No way. The guy who flunked out of college and played the guitar in a bunch of bars and said the only reason he initially started playing the guitar because he thought he could attract women, by doing that. And that was his whole motivation. And it just sort of
right. Well, it worked for his second marriage.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Because he got married and was only married like 3 or 4 years first time, and then met his second wife, who I think he was married to until he passed.
Correct.
On spring break. She was on spring break down in Key West from college, right? And didn't go back. Right.
There you go. Yeah. So anyway,
not that we're trying to promote a college dropout message here, that'll be in a later podcast. No.
Yeah. So anyway, just upon reflection and celebrating his life, which I think he would want. There's just things to stop and think about his life that we can incorporate into ours to whatever degree that we can and we want. Take the good, steal the good, bring it into our own lives, and take the lesson and live a better life as a result.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to deal with me moving this microphone and listening to it, because there's it might not make too much noise, but there's something on my phone here that I wanted to share.
Okay, cool.
And it's about grief, and it's a quote from him. I saw it in several places today, but it's a quote that's attributed to him anyways. And I thought this was cool, in light of his passing, and also because we've done a podcast on grief and suffered some loss ourselves, and friends that we know have, and so on, and I just thought this was pretty cool, so I wanted to share it. But what it says is, grief is like the wake behind a boat. It starts out as a huge wave that follows close behind you and is big enough to swamp and drown you if you suddenly stop moving forward. But if you do keep moving, the big wake will eventually dissipate. And after a long time, the waters of your life get calm again. And that is when the memories of those who have left begin to shine as bright as an enduring star, as the stars above. And let me read that last part again. Totally. I was getting excited about it. And that's when the memories of those who have left begin to shine as bright and as enduring as the stars above.
Okay.
Yeah. How cool is that? And the thing that really, obviously the subject matter of grief caught my eye.
Right.
And then the moving forward.
Yeah.
Right. Because that was part of our message with grief. Right. So, you often hear people say what they intend to be a good thing. That whole, it's time for you to move on. No, that's actually insulting to people who have suffered loss. You don't move on. You move forward with the memory of that person.
Yeah.
And you celebrate that. Feel the loss, experience the grief, and continue to move forward. The visual, though, and obviously what you've been on a ship, a boat, exactly what they're talking about, and I do as well. And that visual is perfect, right? Because when you slow down, that thing will almost look like it's going to swamp you.
That's right.
But if you just keep moving forward, it'll settle down. And I just thought that was cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. So remarkable guy, remarkable music that resonated with so many people. And well, here's to you, Jimmy. Thank you, sir, for all that you've done.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
All right.
There you have it.
There you have it. Well, you know what I'm going to do?
I do.
Thanks for listening to this, watching this. And no matter who you are, where you are, make sure between this or what you're doing, man, I'm so off track. Make sure between this podcast and the next, you take time to enjoy the ride.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. Please subscribe so you'll receive notification when new episodes are available. To learn more about the Graybeards, visit their website, graybeardchronicles.com.